Om Shanti. Today in the Murli, let's read what Baba is saying and then we'll think about it. Baba says, "Sweet children, only you know the Father from beyond this world accurately. Only you know the Father from beyond this world accurately, and this is why only you can be called true theists, believers." Yes, there are theists and there are theists. Those who have truly loving intellects. So Baba says, in this whole world, not everybody can qualify as theist, or they don't have loving intellect with Baba, because only you know Baba accurately and you are the ones who have loving intellects for Baba. Now, I used to write a blog earlier, and Baba gave me that duty of writing a blog. And then in that blog, once I wrote a piece which was God and the human concept of God. Yes, so let's understand that there is God and then there is our idea of God. Okay, so these are two separate things. And before we talk about God and our idea of God, let's talk about people and our idea of people. Okay, so let me take a very simple example. You are living in a place, and I will tell you one incident. So there was this woman who used to come to the center, this sister Mata, and she used to tell me that I love my child very much, but then my child goes to school, and then when he comes back, he throws a lot of tantrums. And while he is at school, I think about him, I lovingly cook for him. But when he comes from school, he just misbehaves and throws his things around. He would throw his shoes in one direction, his socks in one direction. If you give him something to eat, sometimes he'll throw that also. And then I beat him up badly. And then now I'm not sure whether I love him or I hate him. So I love him half of the day. I think about him very lovingly. And then when he's in front of me, I beat him up. So I don't understand what kind of a relationship this is. So I told her, so when he goes to school, what do you think? He'll come and he'll keep his shoes in place, socks in place, and then you will feed him with a lot of love, and he'll accept that food very lovingly. So she said, yes, I think like that. So I said, but no, that's not him. So you are dreaming about an ideal child and you are not seeing who your child is. Yes, so let's see. So this is the root cause of our disappointment all day. I usually think about this one question. People say, my wife is not a good wife, or my husband is not a good husband. Okay. Now you have only one husband or one wife. Who are you comparing them with? You don't have two, so you can say this is better and that one is worse. Who are you comparing them with? You are comparing them with your idea of what a husband or a wife should be like. And you are not suffering because of them, you are suffering because of your idea of who they should be. And let me tell you, our idea only rests here. So there is no reality, which corresponds to our idea. That idea comes from movies, that idea comes from books, novels, and that idea is not real. What is real is in front of you. But you are dismissing the real because you have a certain idea of it. And we have been fed with so many ideas that now we cannot even see what is what. Yes, now let's see another thing. So, how this body consciousness is wreaking havoc. When you meet somebody, you see what gender they are, you see what car they drive, you see what position they hold, you see their age, you see other stuff, and then you form an idea about what they should be like. Yes, and then when you meet them, you don't like them because they don't match your idea of who you want them to be. So, I had a boss and in office, and he was, he was, he was who he was. And then there were many people who said that bosses shouldn't be like this. And then they had problems with him. But I saw him for who he was. He had some good qualities, he had some qualities which were not very comfortable for anybody. But then that's who he was, and I had to work with him because of my karmic settlement. And so I took that, with that understanding, I worked with him for 5 years, and it was all good. There was no problem because I did not fit in my idea of who he should be. I just observed every day who he is. And then I worked with that. And that was never a problem. So I knew he could make some demands which you could not exceed to. So I prepared in advance how to respond to those demands. And then all was good. I never asked why he is making that demand. I just understood that he can make those demands, so I should know how to refuse them. That's it. Yes, so it is, life is very simple actually. But all these conditioning that we have received, and this 63 births of programming of what is right, wrong, what should be, shouldn't be, is actually creating a lot of trouble for us. There is a question, so I get your point, but then how do I treat myself with respect by making sure I'm properly protecting myself from others who harm me? So, first is you understand that if someone is trying to harm you, then they cannot harm you without your permission. Yes, so even when we look at somebody in a position where we think they have the authority to harm us, it is our thought in which we are, in our thought, we are allowing them to take that. Uh, leverage, or that privilege of harming me. So you don't have to apply that. So they can, no, nobody can harm you physically if you don't allow them. If you feel somebody is trying to harm you, then you can just separate yourself from them. And I don't think anybody can harm you without you allowing them to harm you?
It was not working the mute button. But
Okay.
so, for example, let me give you a really random example.
Yes.
Supposing there's a blind man who's really muscular, right?
No, we will not
And
take hypothetical examples here.
you're not going to work with hypothetical examples?
No.
Okay, so I'll just
Yes.
say one really easy thing. If there's a kid, and
Yes.
if an adult is harming that kid, right,
Yes.
like physically,
Yes.
how's the kid going to get away from that when the adult can physically overpower the kid?
Yes. So you see, when we are, so this is why it is always said that you should settle your karmic accounts in this birth. Why? Because when you take another birth, you will be a kid for some time. And then you will not be in a position to change that karmic balance. Okay? So when there is a kid, so that karmic account is related to the past birth. If a kid is in that position, then that karmic account is related to the past birth. This is why it is, see, it sounds very insensitive. But this is the truth. And then we must understand that when you leave the body and take a new birth, there will be a certain period of time when you will not be in a position physically, emotionally, financially, where you will be able to protect yourself. That is why it is recommended that you settle your karmic accounts in such a way that you get those favorable conditions in the next birth. Now, another thing about this situation is very interesting, which is just like we have had certain karmic accounts because of which that situation is arising. Similarly, if there is another elder person in my vicinity who is having thoughts about me at that time, like if you are having this thought that a kid shouldn't suffer and that kid is in and around you, then that's also because of that kid's karma. Okay, so you should listen to what your heart is saying, and if you are able to protect a kid in some way, do that. If you're able to use your authority or your power of money or anything to protect a kid, do that. It's not that if you see somebody suffering, you just abandon them. That's not the way. But if you just keep thinking about why they are suffering, that's not helping them. Okay, if you just keep empathizing with them or sympathizing with them, or just thinking that this shouldn't happen and this is wrong, or getting angry about them, that's not helping the situation. So there you understand that it's happening because of a reason. But then the another aspect of it is you are also thinking about that situation, so you also have a relationship with that situation. So you can also help in some ways and do that. Okay. So don't ask why this is happening, but always ask, what can I do in this situation? So that's the way to go about this kind of a situation. Okay. So when somebody comes to the center and they tell us that this thing happened in their life and that thing happened, we say it's okay, but now you're here and then Baba is going to help you out. So don't worry. Everything that happened, put it behind you and just listen to Baba, and now you will be absolutely fine because Baba is with you and the family is with you. Okay, so this is the way to approach this kind of a situation. All right. Now, so I talked to that. So I told you about our idea of people, and how we are suffering because of our idea of people, not because of people. Similarly, we have an idea about God. Yes, and God is supposed to relieve us of our sorrows, and God is supposed to make us pure. Yes, and their Shrimat or God's directions are very celebrated. So we say that if you follow Shrimat, then you can become a deity. But then we don't know what Shrimat is, and we created our idea about Shrimat, and then we started following that, and that did not lead us to peace or purity or a better world. Okay, so let me give you an example. So there was this brother, and he's a very big businessman here, and then he came to the center and he told me that, Didi, my staff is sometimes, stealing, and sometimes they are not okay, so how do I deal with them? So I told him that if you want to bring out goodness in someone, you have to first believe they are good. Yes, so separate the person and the behavior and believe in their goodness. And then, with due vigilance, you just guide them to that goodness by having that faith within you. Then he said, No, Didi, what you are saying is against Gita. So I said, Why? So he said that, Didi, you see, Sri Krishna also had to suggest Arjuna that you pick up arms and kill the Kauravas, because otherwise the Kauravas will go on, continue, wreaking havoc with everything. So I said, No, I don't think that's God's message. He said, No, that's God's message, Didi, and that's how Sri Krishna addressed the situation, and that is how we need to address the situation. And there is something called righteous anger, and that righteous anger has been justified by Sri Krishna. So I don't think love works everywhere, and you have to resort to righteous anger. So I said, Go kill them. So go kill them, and then you don't have a staff, so do all the work yourself. So, so you see, these are the ideas that we carry. And why? Because we think that God spoke like this. So that's what. So when you read the Ramayana or you read the Gita, you know that that comes from a human mind. Yes, it is Vyasdev ji who wrote the Gita. It is Valmiki Dev ji who wrote the Ramayana. It's not God. And then we need to understand that when God comes, what does God say exactly? So what God says is something that we have never heard in any of the scriptures, which is stay celibate in a marriage. Yes, and just remember me. And teach everybody to stay celibate and remember me. This is what Baba says. And then we say, Oh, what is this? This is really God in his senses, and what is he talking? We never heard something of that sort. And then Baba in the Murli says, You sing, Tumri Gatmat Nyari hai, which is what you teach, nobody else teaches. And then you say that you cannot be God because this is not something we have heard before. So Baba says, No, you never met me before. You don't know what I say. So when I tell you what I tell you, then you have a lot of problems with what you have heard that I tell you. Yes, so Baba comes, and then Baba just, and Baba says, You don't belong to this world, and You are just a passenger, and you think that's your mother, your father, but they are just your physical parents. And I am your parent, and listen to me and do as I say. And then we say, no, what about morality, about being a good child, and about other stuff? So, all that causes a lot of trouble. So, now Baba says that one law we have to understand, which is if there is no knowing and only believing, then the believing is blind faith. Yes? So Baba says, people believe in me, but they don't know me. They don't know who I am, they don't know what I say, they don't know my directions. And this is why they do not get my inheritance. Yes, because whatever they are doing is not what I told them to do. And Baba says, I don't tell you to go to the temple, and I don't tell you to read scriptures, and I don't tell you to do bhajan. I don't tell you all of that thing. I tell you just be pure, remember me, and serve. That's it. Baba says, Yog, Dharana, and Seva. Remember me, become pure, and do Seva. That's it. Nothing else, Baba says. And Baba says that only you know me, and only you can be called true believers because you have loving intellect with me. You love me. So, sometimes people say that I love God, but then when you ask them to embrace what God says, they say, no, I can't do that. So Baba asks us to stay pure, and then they say, my relationship with purity is not okay. So Baba says, that's not true love, because they are not loving me, or they are not doing as I say. And I will tell you one incident that one sister shared yesterday. She said that, Didi, I came to Gyan and I was still eating outside, and there was consumption of onion and garlic also. And then one day I decided I want to eat pure food from today. And then I was with my friends. There were a bunch of women friends I have, and we were having a party, and they offered me food, and then I said, no, I don't eat onion and garlic anymore, so I won't have that food. I've brought something with me, I'll have that. So then they said, this is not okay, and what will happen if you go to some place, you go for a tour, or you go on a holiday, or if you are in a situation where there is no availability of cooking instruments, then how will you survive? So then she said that, Didi, I told them one simple thing. Do you believe in God? So they said yes. Then I said, do you believe that God will not let his child stay hungry? So they said yes. So I said, I'm doing it on the will of God, and he will make sure I will have food. And she said, because they are all believers in some ways, but and that touched their heart, that relationship I had with Baba touched their heart, and they didn't say anything else after that. So, we say we believe in God, but do we really believe in God? Do we really trust that if this is what God says, and if I do that, I will be protected? Yes, so Baba says, nobody knows me, nobody knows what I say, and nobody does as I say. And if you know me, you know what I say, and you do as I say, then you will always be protected. Yes. And now today Baba also tells us the true meaning of protection. Now let's understand the true meaning of protection. Baba says, which one of the father's duties proves that he is the protector of the devotees? So, what is the true meaning of protection? Baba says, to liberate all devotees from the jail of Ravan and to make them solvent from insolvent is the duty of the one father alone. So Baba says, I don't give you the protection which is so temporary that one time you feel you're protected and the second moment you feel you are again in the middle of the sea. No. Baba says, if you know me, if you know what I say, and if you do as I say, then you will be truly protected, which means you will be liberated from the jail of Ravan. So, what is Ravan doing? Ravan has created a jail and he's keeping us very happy in that jail. Yes, so we cannot fly, we cannot experience any freedom inside. But then sometimes we get something, sometimes we don't get something, and we keep living in that jail. And he sometimes feeds our greed, sometimes our ego, sometimes our lust, sometimes our attachment, and then we get very happy inside that jail. So Baba says, I free you from that jail and I make you solvent from insolvent. Insolvent means bankrupt. So, and I make you the one who has everything. And this is true protection. And Baba says, if you truly belong to me, then I give you this protection. I don't give you the protection of the limited kind that you think that God gives. And Baba says, to change old devotees into Brahmins and then into deities is his protection. The protector of the devotees has come to give liberation and liberation in life to all his devotees. So Baba says, I give you liberation, which is I take you to the sweet home, sweet world of light back home. And then I take you to the liberation in life, which is to Satyug. So this is my protection. And if you truly belong to me, then I give you this protection. Okay? So this is about Baba and our idea of Baba. You must read the Murli today. The Murli today is full of, revelations. So there is Mama's Mahavakya also, and it is full of lot of revelations. Now, the blessing today is, may you save your time and thoughts by being introverted and become a conqueror of obstacles. So Baba says, any new powerful invention is created underground. So what do researchers do? They cut themselves off from the world and then they just immerse themselves in their research. So Baba says, any new powerful invention is created underground. The more introverted, that is, the more you remain underground, the more you will be protected from the atmosphere, and the more your churning power will increase, and you will always also remain safe from the obstacles of Maya. Now, what is this introversion that Baba is talking about? So, Baba gives the example of introversion in the conduct of a tortoise. So, have you seen a turtle? So, what does the turtle do? The turtle will go out, have his food, roam around, and when his work is over, he will just contract all his organs and go inside. And then Baba says, you have these sense organs, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the skin. Sometimes you have to use them. So when you have to listen to a class, you have to open your ears and sit. But then when your work is over, what you do is you just pull away your attention from all that you can see or hear or whatever is in and around you, and just go within and sit in the experience that I am a sweet, silent soul who belongs to Baba. And Baba says, in that stage, whatever is happening around you will not be able to disturb you. Yes? And do you understand that all through the day, there are many things that we need to attend to, and we knack our brains in that. But then there is a lot of stuff which has got nothing to do with us. And we still knack our brains and spend our energy in that. Do we do that? Yes? So Baba says, whenever your business is over, whenever whatever you need to attend to is over, just go within and save your energy. This is the power saving mode. Yes, and in that mode, when you have enough power within, you can churn on some point of knowledge and then come to a very elevated state inside. Yes, many people say we don't find the time to meditate or the time to churn, but we don't find the time because we don't use this quality of going within. So you can be in an external situation and still go within. So you don't have to go to an isolated room to go within. You can be in the middle of a meeting, and once your role is over, you can just go within. And then the atmosphere will not be able to affect you. You will be able to churn, and then you will also not be affected by Maya. Because maybe in that meeting, somebody is trying to indirectly pass a comment at you. And then you didn't listen to it, so it didn't bother you. And other people thought you're so great because you didn't react, because but you didn't hear it in the first place. So that's also a very good way of protecting yourself from Maya. Yes. So Baba says that while going into extroversion, and then Baba says, this you do when your job is over, and then when you are coming into, speech or extroversion, there is something that you need to do in a situation. At that time also, remain introverted. So stay connected with your quality within. Remain cheerful. So because you are connected with the ocean of happiness, so let that cheerfulness stay with you, and be an image of attraction. So Baba is called Satyam Shivam Sundaram, the most attractive one. So when you are in his remembrance, you will be very attractive. Practice this while performing actions. Now the key word is practice, because this will not come naturally. So you have to practice to become introverted, and you have to practice to stay introverted while coming into action. And Baba says, practice this while performing actions, and your time will be saved and you will experience greater success. Yes, so I have a very good experience about what Baba is saying in this Vardhan. And Baba says, stay introverted while performing actions, and this will save your time and it will give you success. And I have seen that, sometimes I have been in a situation where somebody is blaming me for something and accusing me for something. And then what I have done is, I have immediately checked which part of it is true and accepted the part that was true, and I have asked them what can be done about it, and that has saved so much of argument and so much of reverse blaming. And then that work was over within minutes and I was free. and that relationship also stayed intact. Or if somebody is blaming me for something which I don't think is right, then I have just stuck to my point. I have not raised my voice. So even if they said it is like this and you did this and you did that, I said, no, I didn't do it. That's it. So, and because I just said I didn't do it and I stayed quiet, and then they kept shouting, after a point of time, they felt they're shouting in vain and they're wasting their energy. And then they left, and I was saved time and energy in that situation. So if you have not done it, you have not done it. You don't need to tell it 10 times. Or even if they are shouting, you don't need to raise your voice, because that's got nothing to do with you. Yes, so, but when you are introverted and connected with Baba, only then will you be able to do this. Okay, so this is it. And then there is the slogan: do not be afraid of your illness, but take fruit, the medicine, and bid it farewell. So, Baba calls the medicines the dry fruits of Kali Yuga. Baba says, do not avoid medicines. Now, don't go into a psychosis and take more than required also, but you should discern where there is a need for medicine. Take that and bid whatever illness is there farewell. Some people go into this hut yoga that I will not take medicine. So Baba says, no, take it where it's necessary. Okay? And Baba says, if there is an illness, discern, decide, take the right medicine and bid it farewell. Don't suffer unnecessarily. Okay? Om Shanti.